What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio. Transmitting from the future-free state of Greater Idaho, where the BBB is gonna get passed. I am the one-armed madman. And back with us, he's been MIA for a long fucking time. Give it up for the Badlands of Southern Montana. It's Nolan 5150. I kind of fucked that one up, but it's been a while since I've ran the music, so I should be forgiven. You know, I don't run the music when I have a first time podcaster on, because I don't know how they're gonna respond to the good old Mac Dre. So I usually just fucking leave it out, and then I figure out if you're gonna come back on again sometime, you'll get the Mac Dre the second time. If not, you'll never hear it. So that's just how
that's fair.
There it goes. I've never really talked out the entire fucking intro. I usually fade it out. I thought I had some more time. So what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm fucking tired, man. We're busy as hell. It's been hectic the last couple weeks, and I'm just beat, man. Mentally, physically exhausted most of the time, but you know. Knocking on the door of 40, and I mean, I don't know. I'd say I'm like physically not doing too shabby. Feels like the body's coming back around.
When I got off the old Oxycontin and started working at the bar in San Francisco, I was working like 60, 80 hours a week by choice, just because I felt like I was so behind. You know, I wasted so many years being a piece of shit. I had no money, no life, no nothing. So it was like everything was a hustle just to get as much done as I possibly could, which is probably why I'm sitting here with just one hand, because I, took a job where I was doing shit I shouldn't have been doing, but I would have gotten through my apprenticeship really fast. So it was like, hey, I'll suffer it out in North Dakota and work 80, 90 hours a week, 2 weeks in a row, 4 days off, 5 days off, and then I'll get out of there and go work somewhere else. But as we all know, that never happened. Didn't the old apprenticeship.
We know how that story went.
Big
actually. One actual pretty cool piece of motorcycle news that I meant to send you some pictures about and stuff, but Harley released a model this year. It's the CVO Road Glide RR, which stands for Race Replica. It's a CVO.
CVO.
Yeah, stands for Custom Vehicle Operations.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
nice. Is this like what they're using in the bagger races?
Exactly. Yeah, it's super exciting. Not, I mean, just from all the BS that's been going on and whatnot. The live wire debacle. They have the new Sportsters have the Revolution Max engine in them, and they're just a funky motorcycle. I'm not a big fan of them. I mean, they're fast, man. It's kind of like a short. Fuck, why I'm blanking the name. It was damn it, I'll think about it. I'll come back to that. But anyway, so
I'm seeing something that says 153 horsepower and $110,000. Holy shit.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, dude. I heard
this is like, go ahead.
I heard a dealership in Florida was put it up for auction, and last I heard it was up to $300,000. They're only making 131 of these specifically, and it's exciting because it's standard like motorcycle industry and pretty much any power sports industry. When that specific genre gets into racing, the stock production just starts going through the roof, because there's all this money into R&D and performance that the privateers and whatever, any corporations that are investing into race teams, the advances for the stock applications just get jet fuel. So it's super cool. It's a full everything, every body panel on that thing, the saddlebags, everything except the gas tank is carbon fiber. It's
Cool.
got a billet, swing arm, front and rear
Race
Ohlins.
exhaust.
Yeah, the Akropovich full race. I'm gonna air quotes race exhaust because it is
Yeah, yeah.
DOT street legal.
Dude,
But
it's a sick looking bike. I'm seeing a black one, an orange and black one, and a purple and black one, and they all look sick.
yeah, it was a big fucking thing because we found out we were gonna get one, and it's a very expensive motorcycle and a rare motorcycle, and it was sold. Like it was already bought and done before we even got it. So
Did you
managers
get to
hell
ride
had
it?
a meeting. Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit.
I'm the only person in the dealership that got to touch it. It was like nobody else touches it. Nobody else like don't even look at it that hard. But and yeah, I got to ride it. It was pretty sick. I was nervous. I was super nervous, but it's one of those things. I've ridden expensive bikes before and stuff like that, but it was cool,
Did you get to
man.
open it up? Did you open it up
On
at all?
on the record, no, I did not. I
I
stayed
like
under
it.
30.
I
I
like
stayed
it.
under 3,500 RPMs, as stated, recommended by Harley Davidson Motor Corporation. That is my answer.
Excellent, dude. So I was thinking, so like in motocross and supercross, they have a production rule which says that you have to like run certain stock things, like a stock-ish frame. You're allowed to modify it a little bit, but it has to be basically stock. You have to have the stock cases, different things on the head. There's a certain amount of things. So the production rule has really fucked up dirt bikes in a lot of ways because if you didn't have a production rule, you could just start with a stock bike and build a works bike for the top guys and they'd be be way more comfortable on them. But what they do with these fucking things now is they have to make like a 450 and a 250F that can race supercross, which normal people don't ride supercross. They're on outdoor, it's more wide open, you know. And so like you're starting with a bike as a normal person that's not built for you. Like it's built to race supercross. And they kind of tame them down. Like Kawasaki's gone in a different direction than most of the brands right now. They're slowing the bike down. So like they have a very slow 450, which it's still a 450, which is, bad shit. Like most normal people shouldn't have a 450. They should be building 350s by now. However,
Yeah.
the new Ducati is out and has been ridden by the media and will be debuted next weekend at Redbud by Antonio Caroli. And they're saying that the engine is fucking sick. It's not very fast because they didn't want to make a crazy fast stock bike, but Caroli's going to race the stock bike this weekend. He's going to have stock-ish suspension done by work or by Factory Connections, but he's basically riding a stock bike because he wants to go out there and get a top 10 on a stock bike to show how badass this fucking thing is. So with the
Nice.
Desmo valve train, like one of the big problems with 450s is they like spool up really gnarly and the engine, like the dynamo problem where you have all this rotating mass that's pushing you into corners and just really like making the bike kind of difficult to ride. They say the Ducati doesn't do that. The engine's, smooth. It spools up quick. You're not having to deal with all of this mass pushing you because the weight of the engine is actually higher because the valve train is higher. So you're not really like getting pushed as hard. And 450s these days are ridden in the lower end. These guys want them to be torquey. They're not really opening them up like wide open all that much. Like Jet Lawrence rides in a really low RPM. So does Jorge Prajo. A couple other guys are riding a really low RPM range on these things. And the 450 Ducati is not going to be a low end bike. Like it likes to be wound out, but it's not like winding out a Yamaha where you're just like holding on for dear life. That being said, the 250 is going to be a monster because you ride 250s wide open, feather the clutch. So this thing is going to rev to the fucking moon. And like I heard an interview with Caroli the other day. He was like, the 450 is great. The 250 is going to be something else. And I think that
Nice.
Ducati is going to have the best bikes within 10 years. Like they're going to be the top team. The 250 is going to be the best bike, I think. And if they decided, I wish they went the Yamaha route and fucking flipped the motor around backwards like Yamaha does, because that
Yeah.
seems to be the ticket. You know, you get more cool air into the engine. These fucking guys have to wear earplugs on the Yamahas because the intake is so fucking loud.
Yeah, I mean it's at a certain point, if you're going fast enough, it's almost forced induction,
Mhm.
right?
Pretty cool shit. Pretty cool shit, man. Fucking dirt bikes are getting good. I've been looking at bikes. I'd like to get a bike if I can get my shoulder into shape. Like it's getting better. It still hurts, but like I'm down to 1 day a week at physical therapy because we're not really making a ton of progress. But I think I might go Italian. You know, I'd love to get a Ducati 450. That'd be sick. But I think I'm probably gonna go with a Beta. Fucking Betas are pretty cool bikes. They make like more variations than any other company. They do like their off-road hair scramble bike. It's got KYB suspension, which is, the best fucking suspension out there on dirt bikes. And you can get a 350, a 390, a 400, a 430, a 490, and a 520. And they're all like based on the same engine. You just get different
Yeah.
characteristics out of them. So like your 350, you're going to wind it out. Your 390 is going to have some more torque. 430 is going to have a little bit more, and then just up and up and up. So
Yeah.
very cool bikes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I sure would love to have a Ducati in the garage, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, man. Ducatis are super cool. They're super cool.
It's a sick looking bike, and it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
yeah.
any more expensive than any of the other bikes. It's around the same price, and it's a
They're
fucking
exotic,
Ducati.
man. They're exotic,
Yeah,
right?
it's
They,
red. It's a sick looking bike. It's a fucking
yeah.
sick looking bike. Have you seen it yet?
I I do believe I've seen a couple pictures. But what was I gonna say? I've ridden, probably at least a solid handful. Yeah, definitely a solid handful of different makes and models of Ducatis. It would be very interesting.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, they're
I
cool,
just
man.
sent you a picture.
Hyper
I just sent you a picture to your phone.
the Hyper
Or it went
Motard.
through. You should see it.
Have
Oh,
you
those are sick, man.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fun. They're a lot of fun.
I was
That might
debating
be
between
my
a
favorite.
Buell. I was debating between a Buell and a Ducati Monster when I got my Buell, and I decided to go with the Buell because it was just a little bit cooler and a little bit less expensive.
Yeah.
The stock version of the Ducati doesn't have graphics. It's just a red bike and it says Ducati on the back fender. But she's a sick looking bike.
Yeah.
The Italians, they don't fuck around. They make a badass machine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. That was Ducatis. Yeah, I'm pretty positive it was Ducatis, especially on like street bikes, sport bikes on the track, prone to catching fire.
Oh, nice.
But
Beautiful.
like I said, it'll be interesting to see
Mm.
how their their dirt bike goes. Obviously, I'm not saying that they're going to catch fire. It's just
No, I doubt it. When I was talking about the production rule in motocross, I was gonna pivot to I weaved and I didn't weave back. Like, is that why they're putting out the bagger? Is because they need like a badass stock bike platform to build off of in the races?
no. Like it's production, production factory, civilian realm benefiting from all the R&D and all the money invested into the race aspect. Like the race
Gotcha.
the race teams and everything, the king of the baggers don't benefit usually at all from the production side. Somebody did recently tell me that one of the factory I can't remember. I don't think it was the Harley team, but a king of the bagger team. They almost run like a production 131 engine. I think he said they might run a different cam, but everything else is all, it's production parts. and they're
Gotcha.
running it. But yeah,
So,
man, it's typically the production side that benefits from race applications. But
all
this
right.
and that's one of the things I've noticed about Harley. They will release stuff super limited edition first, always, and then kind of see how it goes, see what they're gonna roll out into just like the main models, like this CVO. It's they'll see how this goes, see how it works, see what the interest is, all that stuff, and then maybe they'll throw some of that stuff into the main production line.
Do you think
That's
they'll
just
make more of them next year if they sell? I mean, clearly they're going to sell all of them, or do you think they'll keep it more limited? Talk for as long as you can, because I'm going to put my teeth in.
okay. They will definitely release, like they always do these limited bike runs. This is just probably the first time that, like I said, the race application has started to show itself in the production side, but it there's no way it's gonna stop. And the amount of buzz, the amount of you know advertising and everything, the interest in the Harley world in these bikes, as far as I've heard, is just astronomical. And then that's just what business 101. You create scarcity, you drive up demand. So what as to what they'll make next, I don't know. They always have stuff in the works. That's one of the things that always came up at school in Milwaukee with any of the company guys. Some students would always ask questions, like, "Oh, what about this? What's the plan with this and whatnot?" And they all always keep it tight. But I don't know, man. It feels like a little bit of a ray of sunshine, a little bit of a glimmer of
Yeah.
hope for the Harley world and the industry. We'll see how it goes. It's
Fuck yeah.
it was
I
a
think
lot
it's
of fun.
definitely a better direction.
Yeah,
Like, it's definitely
100%.
a better direction, Like, people are into that bagger races. I watch them from time to time. They're pretty fucking cool. Like, those dudes
Yeah.
haul ass on those big fucking bikes. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was by far the biggest thing that I took away from riding it. It wasn't the power or anything having to do with the powertrain, anything like that. Like
Handles
it was good. The power was smooth as hell, and it was on demand. It was good. I really would, because I built a CVOST, which is a 121. I built that into a 135, and that bike was a lot of fun. I would have loved to have been able to like take one out on a little rip, come back, hop off that, hop on the other one, take that for a rip, so I could do just an immediate back-to-back comparison. But as far as like the power and everything, but the biggest thing I noticed that I loved was the weight reduction and the handling, mainly obviously having to do with the Olin suspension. And they're finally, I think I mentioned it before, they're finally pulling their heads out of their asses and throwing inverted forks on these motherfuckers. Getting rid of most
Sweet. I
dude,
didn't
most
notice
of
that.
them have just conventional forks, and they're fucking trash.
Damn, that's wild. I mean, we've been doing upside down forks on dirt bikes for what? Since the 80s? Probably.
Yeah, probably. That was
Yeah.
that was
Only
one of
makes good
the
shit.
that was one of the biggest, because I had my 2003 Gixxer 600. That was one of the key things that I wanted in my new Gixxer. I wanted to sell that off, and all the things that I wanted changed were in the 2007. All the
That's
all the suspension differences, all the electronic advances without the electronic controls. So my Gixxer was the last year that you didn't have ABS, didn't have traction control, any of that electronically controlled bullshit. But
I'm not
they
into
did
all that
finally get
shit.
the inverted forks. Yeah, it's cool.
They
It's
figured
cool
it out on
if
dirt
you
bikes
want it.
now, but like, dude, they're doing it like EFI and like all the electronics on like KTM's doing it on their 125s now and their two strokes, which is like it kind of defeats the purpose of a 125. Like a
Yeah.
125, you have to wind those fuckers out, ride them in the top end as fast as you fucking can. If you put EFI on them, now you're like broadening out the power band and you're not learning how to ride a 125, which is like
Yeah.
what like the whole purpose is to learn how to carry momentum, essentially. Because if you lose momentum, dude, when you watch some of the old races, like I watched an old race recently, it was like Travis Pastrana and Ron Cotta and a couple of these other guys on 125s. And like, if you blow a corner on one of those bikes, you're fucking losing a couple seconds. And you got to make that time up. And it was like, I think, and I'm sure we've talked about this on the show before, but I think allowing Yamaha to build a 450 was the dumbest thing the AMA and pro racing has ever done, because they were instantly like way faster than a 252 stroke. They were so ready to get rid of two strokes because they thought if they like acquiesced to the liberals on two strokes that they would get off our backs, but they didn't. They immediately went after the four strokes because it's not about like what type of bike you're on. They just don't want us riding, period. Like that's the whole point. Like nature is to be observed from afar, maybe hiked through, not a dirt bike. I remember when I was in school, they were like off-road vehicles, including dirt bikes and ATVs, cause erosion. It's like, what? They're moving dirt from one spot to another. They act like if you ride on the dirt, you destroy it and it goes away. It's like, no, dude, it moves to the side. And then if you stop riding on it, it goes back to normal. It was the stupidest fucking thing. I couldn't believe it. Anyways, like the 450s are too fast for a normal person. Like people get hurt on them all the time. And like, you know, a 250F is cool. They're a fun bike. You have to ride them similar to a 125, just wide open. But it would have been better if we would have done like a 175 and a 350 or a 300, you know? So you could still ride a two-stroke. And you know, like the AMA is so stupid, and Feld and MX Sports, like all of the amateur races, you're allowed to ride a 252 stroke in the 250 class now, but you can't do it in a pro race, which is bullshit because like how much better would it be? Like essentially privateers are like unable to compete in the 250 class. You just can't compete with the top bikes. They're so fast. You just can't do it. The 450s are at a point where like you can race a stock 450 and 450 outdoor motocross and you can get a top 10, you know. I think Ty Masterpool got like third one year on a stock KX 450 with stock suspension and a pipe. Like that's pretty fucking cool. But like how much better would it be if you were a privateer, you don't have any money, so you can build a 252 stroke fast really easy for very cheap. And then you can go and compete in the 250 class. I think it would be fun. It would make it a lot more fair and even, and like give these privateers a chance to actually fucking win, you know?
Yeah.
And like they've realized that there's no winning with the environmentalists at this point. And KTM sells a fucking shitload of two strokes. So Kawasaki's bringing their two stroke back. Yamaha's doing better with their two strokes now. And like they're coming back. People still love them. I just wish that like you can't make a two stroke competitive with a 450. You just can't do it. There's diminishing returns on a two stroke. Like a 300 or a 350 is about as high as you can go. Like a 500 is almost unrideable.
Yeah.
Like they were cool back in the day when it was 500 versus 500, but the 250 class became faster very quickly. Like there was just, like I said, there's diminishing returns. Like you can't just make a bigger engine and expect to go faster. As fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just, you can't make them competitive with a 450. There's no way.
That's like all I could really think is, so I've seen videos. It's a street bike track. It's a road course, but there's like guys on 1000s, guys on 600s and whatnot. And then there's a guy like on a fucking 250 or a 300. And yeah, everybody else pulls on him in a straightaway, but on a road course,
On the
it's
corners.
mostly corners, and this guy's just freaking just flying
it up.
past everybody. It really kind of like you're saying, it feels like at a certain point, there's like the pinnacle, like you have
Yep.
a high enough performance machine to do what your human body can actually do and handle, and then past that, it's like, what are you doing? That's where a little bit less power that's manageable and everything, and then you actually get technically better racing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the racing was just as good when there was 2 strokes. Like, and if they dropped the 450 class to a 350 class, the racing would be just as good. And like the problem with the 450 is it's easy for these top guys to ride them. It's harder to ride them in the top 3. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like you can hop on it and ride it, but if you want to be a top 3 guy, like it's really hard to find the window on that bike because of all the rotating mass and the weight to it. There was a video last year after Washougal, this kid, Levi Kitchen, who races in the 250 class. He jumped on a Kawasaki 252 stroke and they were doing just a video on it. And the dude is throwing upside down whips. He's never ridden a 252 stroke before. Day one, he's just throwing upside down whips because the bike's so fucking easy to ride compared to a 450. You don't have to do much to that bike to find the window. Like it's pretty easy to get in. And I had experience with this. Like I was a bigger guy than a lot of the kids that I was racing with. And when I got a 252 stroke, like that bike was sick. It was so fast for me. Like at the time I was like 160 pounds probably. And like, I was still like a flag on that fucking thing, just holding on for the ride, you know?
Yeah.
And like, it was a fun bike to ride. It was harder for me to find the window. Like the window on a 125 is massive. You can kind of just jump on it and go, you know, like I didn't really have to fuck with the suspension all that much. It's manageable. You're just holding it wide open. The suspension's easy to get. The 250 was harder. And like, I struggled on it. And then like one day I was at a track in Northern California. It was Oakfield Raceway in Turlock. And my suspension guy was there and he gave me a setting. And dude, I fucking hole shotted and just ran away from everybody in the C class, which I never did. Like I was lucky to get in the top 10 on my 125 and 250F. And then like on the 250, most of the time I was same thing, like top 10-ish, you know. The 250 class was easier than the 125 class back then. And I'm sure it probably still is now in amateur racing. But dude, once I got in the window on that bike, it was like, see you later. I'm fucking gone. Oh, nice. We got a cat sighting. Let me see that fucking butthole. That's a good title. Let me see that butthole.
This guy got
anyways,
this guy got over 21 pounds this year.
Nice. Let me see that butthole. Anyways, I don't know. I guess we probably talked about dirt bikes enough. We've lost most of the audience at this point, but I don't care. This podcast is not about what the audience likes. It's about what we like.
Exactly. And if you don't like
so
what we like, then fuck you.
Exactly. Let me see that butthole. I got to write it down because I'll forget. All right. So, should we do some politics? What are we at?
Yeah.
Half an hour? Yeah. Let's do some quick politics. All these videos are short, so we'll just power through them. And then we don't have to play everything. We can get down to the fuck the police videos if we run out of time. So Elon Musk has not been making friends in the government. I'm sure you've seen that him and Donald Trump had a fallout at one point a couple weeks ago. He tweeted that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Ooh, spicy. So this is him at a
honeymoon's over.
Summit. Honeymoon is over. Actually, so like somebody asked Trump the other day, "Are you going to deport Elon Musk?" And he's like, "I don't know. Maybe we'll look into it. You know, we might have to put Doge on him. He's got a lot of subsidies. We might have to get rid of him." And whatever, it's fun. I guess he's not going to lose those subsidies. He's NASA at this point, if they're even going anywhere. I saw a clip on the internet the other day where Sam Tripoli was doing a show and he was talking about how stupid NASA is, and this stupid woman said, "I work on rockets at SpaceX," and he's like, "Oh yeah, what are you guys doing? Launching those fucking things into the ocean? What type of fake job do you have? Like, you're not building shit." It was funny. Anyways, this is Elon Musk talking about budgets. This is before the election, so it's not like he's been hiding what he's, you know, what he's kind of been talking about. He's been talking about the budget, and Donald Trump was talking about the budget. He wanted to pay down the debt. That was one of the things that he ran on. So here's Elon before the election.
Quickly. And nobody seems to, everyone seems to be sort of whistling past the graveyard on this one. You know, the Defense Department budget is a very big budget, okay? It's $1 trillion a year, DOD, Intel, it's $1 trillion. And interest payments on the national debt just exceeded the Defense Department budget. But they're over $1 trillion a year, just in interest, and rising. We're adding $1 trillion to our debt, which our kids and grandkids are going to have to pay somehow every 3 months.
I'm going to default.
And then soon it's going to be every 2 months, and then every month. And then the only thing we'll be able to pay is interest. And if this is, it's just, it's just like a person at scale that has racked up too much credit card debt. And this does not have a good ending. And so we have to reduce the spending.
Have to reduce the spending. He is not wrong. Like $36 trillion is like a made up number at this point.
Yeah.
He tweeted the other day, what's the point in having a debt ceiling if we keep raising it? He's right. Like there's just no fucking way. It's stupid. Donald Trump's point on the one big beautiful bill, he says, we're going to stimulate the economy to pay off the debt. What? That makes no fucking sense. Like, you're not going to be able to collect enough tax revenue on a hot economy to really pay off the debt in any significant way. I think this is like, here's a good example. This would be like if you were in massive credit card debt right now, say you owed $10,000 on a MasterCard, and you go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take out a Visa and I'm going to buy better tools so I can work better and make more money and pay off my other credit card. You'd be like, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Like you're still limited to a certain amount of hours. If you're working all the hours that you can work at this point, like how is better tools going to help you make more money? It's not. All you're going to do is just be adding to the debt that you're already in,
Yep.
It's fucking stupid. It's ridiculous. Donald Trump doesn't understand anything about the actual debt. Like, I don't think he's ever read a book on economics. I don't know that he's ever read a book. I'm sure he has at some point, but they're probably like stupid biographies or science fiction, like something that can keep his mind occupied. Like there's no way he's reading Ludwig von Mises, 800-page treatise on economics. Like there's no chance he's ever done that. Like, I don't even know that he's ever listened to like a speech about economics before. He would probably just be like, no, wrong, shut up. This is how we're going to do it.
He probably
style.
for sure at least has had books read to him. And I mean,
Maybe.
I know he's old, but he has to have listened to a book on tape or something,
I saw a really funny video the other day. This guy was interviewing him in a golf cart. He's like, what's your favorite music? Like, what are you listening to right now? He's like, oh, I got a lot of great music. And he starts going through his phone. And then he hits a button to play it. And instead of the song he was actually playing, it went to Yay, Heil Hitler.
Oh, fuck.
There's these really funny videos. I'll have to send it to you after the show. There's these two Italian guys who are like, I might have sent it to you. They're just like dancing in front of this like DJ equipment. They're listening to like old fucking disco Italian music. And they're like wearing these funny fucking suits and short shorts. And they're just drinking Campari and smoking cigarettes. And I took one of them and I put Ye's Heil Hitler in it instead of the music that they were playing. And it, for some reason, like the guy's going like this, and I lined it up so it's like when he's saying Heil Hitler, he's doing like a Sieg Heil. It was great. If I had a big Twitter following, it would have went viral, but I don't. Anyways, so if Elon Musk is public enemy number 1 to Trump right now, number 2 is definitely Thomas Massey. So here's Thomas Massey on omnibus bills.
This would be 50% of solving the problem. Get rid of the giant bills. Okay. the omnibus bills, the continuing resolutions, and even the big, beautiful bill.
Bring up omnibus bill. We looked it up the other day when Mr. Vance was here, but I just want to go over it again. An omnibus bill is proposed law that covers a number of diverse or unrelated topics. So it's not even really fair because you only get one vote on the bill.
Correct. And so typically an omnibus bill, it includes at least 12 other bills. Why not put that shit on the floor one at a time?
I agree.
And then that way, you can go to your representative or your senators and say, why did you vote for that? Right now, they can say, well, Theo, I had to vote for it. I had a pay raise for soldiers, right? They literally will put a pay raise for soldiers in every freaking giant bill so that if you vote against it, you have to go back home and watch TV ads that say he voted against a pay raise for the soldiers.
Right. Even though he may have voted for 90 other amazing things on the bill, right?
Right.
And that was one thing that was tied in there that if you went this way,
Yeah.
it may have been like oxygen for grandmothers, right?
Literally, there probably is that in there.
But if you vote for oxygen for grandmothers, then they're not going to give. So I see what you're saying.
I voted against oxygen for grandmothers so many times they can't even run that ad anymore. It doesn't even seem real.
Well, unfortunately, he was wrong about that because they will absolutely run that ad.
To Thomas Massey, President Trump is banning sex changes on minors. Massey voted against it. President Trump is cutting taxes and saving Kentucky families $10,000. Massey voted against it. President Trump is securing our border and deporting criminal aliens. Massey voted against Trump again. And after Trump obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program, Massey sided with Democrats and the Ayatollah. Let's fire Thomas Massey. MAGA Kentucky is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Dude, that is so stupid. It's the same like George W. Bush line, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists.
Yeah.
And
right.
like I don't think that shit is working anymore. Like I see it on X every fucking day. Like if you were against Trump starting a war with Iran, you're just siding with terrorists. And it's like, Jesus Christ, people. And like at least this is a TV ad for boomers. And boomers are gonna fall for everything. Like it's really amazing like how stupid people are. And like it's so sick that they're voting against their best interests. Like, yeah, maybe there is something good in that bill, but there's also 100 other terrible things in it that is going to make your life worse. Like adding to the debt, creating more inflation. But these people are like, my buddy TJ calls them Trump dick riders because like TDS goes in both ways. You have the one side of TDS where everything he does is bad. And then you have the other side where everything he does is good. So like one of these guys, I'm really not a fan of this guy, Sean Ryan. We've talked about him on the podcast before. I think he's a Fed. I think he's running a CIA op on his podcast. He's not a natural podcast. Anyways, he tweeted, another couple trillion added to the national debt in one big, beautiful bill act, ? My grandkids' piggy banks are already filing for bankruptcy and they aren't even born yet. Fair. Like that's absolutely what's going to happen. Like we're just piling up this debt. They're probably going to default at some point. There's no fucking way we're ever going to be able to pay this shit off. And this big, beautiful bill adds at least 4 trillion to the debt. We're already at 36 trillion. So why not pump it up to 40,
Why not?
So
why the fuck not?
Here's a couple of the responses he got. When Trump grows the economy and pays down the debt like they're already doing, they're not paying down the debt. That's stupid. Make sure to bookmark this in 2028. You're a fucking moron. And then this one's even better. Where's your faith in the God Almighty in this statement? What? So now if you don't want the debt limit to go up, if you don't want to add another 4 trillion to the debt, you don't believe in God? Like how fucking retarded can you be? It's and there's just tons of these fucking things. Like people just piling on like crazy. Hardcore ratio on that tweet. It's really stupid. People are fucking morons. And like I was hoping that since Fox News and CNN and MSNBC are dying along with their demographic of boomers, that this type of thinking would stop and, smarter people would kind of be able to talk sense into the NPCs like these fucking morons. But it really doesn't seem to be happening. You know, these fucking
Yeah.
people are idiots.
Well,
They're gonna vote for their own slavery, no matter. It's a slave mentality. You know, government's great, everybody else sucks. Here's another Thomas Massey clip. Again, he's on Theo Vaughn.
Big Beautiful Bill is a provision for artificial intelligence corporations that says no
10 years. 10
Yeah,
years.
for 10 years, no state or locality can regulate them. And then it talks about zoning and routing, which if you know, some of your listeners may have seen this, like locally, some big corporation wants to put a data center in your backyard. Well, that's what Congress is trying to do. They're trying to say that these corporations can override local zoning laws, that the local zoning board should take a back seat and let this big information center show up in your backyard that uses all kinds of water and all kinds of power and puts out all kinds of RF and has, you know.
Oh, yeah, your fucking cousin's going to be walking down the street just fucking, you know, just fucking screaming out Amazon orders, you know? It's going to be, what is happening, man?
So that's in the big, beautiful bill, okay? And you can know that's evil. You can know that's bad. And Trump never campaigned on that. But also in that bill is to enforce our borders, okay, to finish the wall.
Right.
So if you're a Republican and you vote for that bill, okay, you supported enforcing the border, but you also let AI basically take over your local and state governments, okay? And then if you vote against it, well, then you're against the AI provision, but oh my gosh, you're for open borders, you know? You don't want to support the military. There was $100 billion in there for the military.
Yeah.
There was, you want to tax seniors. There was a tax cut for seniors. So you can't win for losing. And so I don't blame a lot of my colleagues. Like they come to Congress, they have the best intentions, and you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, this whole game is rigged. How am I going to play it? Am I going to call it out? Will that be the best for my constituents who elected me? Or should I play along? And most of them choose to play along.
Yeah. There was another clip. I don't know if I probably skipped it, but we don't need to play it again. But there's one spot where he said the reason these big bills get passed is because there's actually a uni party. Like they're not really, you know, much different than each other. And he said that, you know, the Republicans want to increase the warfare state and the military industrial complex, and the Democrats want to increase the welfare state. And yeah, that makes sense to me. You know, they're just going to keep running it up. Socialism on both fucking sides. You know, the military industrial complex wants $50 billion a year. They're always going to get it because they've gotten used to it. You know, you get fat and, you know, we're never going to go back to pre-COVID spending. It's just not going to happen. That was part huge during COVID.
That's standard, right? Like it's always the way it goes. You like increase spending, or they just scrape away a little bit of your freedoms and everything, and it's never going to come back. That's just if you ever think it the only way it would just have to be a motherfucking hard reset.
Yeah. I don't remember who said it, but it was something like freedoms lost are rarely gained back.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's completely fucking true. You know, your fucking cat's out of control tonight. We're having thunderstorms over here, so my dog's freaking out. He's running back and forth. Sorry, Oz, I can't do anything for you.
Neighbors have been shooting fireworks off all freaking week, and he's
mine too.
He's a stress case right now. He just wants to be near dad.
Yeah, I get annoyed by them, but I'd rather live in a state that allows them than doesn't. You know,
dude,
you gotta have freedom to blow shit up, right?
Absolutely. So funny, quick story. Like I said, there's one neighbor particular that's been popping fireworks off all week, and so there's a Facebook group for the neighborhood, and some Karen posted on there, you know, something like, what's wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. Some of us work. The animals are freaking out and blah, blah, blah. And all the comments were just like, America. And we live out here because we have the freedom to do that. And if that's not what you want, then move into the city. And I was just cracking up, man. And somebody called her Karen outright. It was pretty hilarious.
Yellowstone is going to destroy your state. The show. Because
Man, like
all these fucking rich liberals watch the show and they go, oh, I want to live like that. And then they move and they buy a ranch and they pay people to take care of the ranch. And then they bitch and complain about fireworks. Like, it's just, you know, me and my buddy TJ talk a lot about, like, where's the place to be? Like, traffic's getting bad here. It's getting, you know, it's getting to be a little bit much. But like, I don't know that anywhere else is going to be much better. You know, I think Wyoming is probably going to be the last spot for freedom. Wyoming's pretty ugly. And then if you move to Wyoming, like for him, he's a contractor, and it's like, you move to a place with no traffic, there's also less work. So you're like kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And if you don't have the fucking money to do this, like,
honestly, keep going.
Let's play this video of Milton Friedman, and then we'll kind of expand this a little bit.
Tax on the American people is what government spends. If the federal government spends $450 billion and only raises $400 billion in taxes, who do you suppose who pays that other $50 billion? Do you suppose the tooth fairy does? Inflation is, from this point of view, a form of taxation. If government spends more than it takes in, it has to meet the difference, either by printing money or by borrowing from the public at large.
Yep. Both of those, fuck us. You know, inflation is terrible for you. It's not great for me. And it's really good for the rich. You know, rich people that have assets and hard money, gold, Bitcoin, those things go up when money gets printed, because these people that are close to the government who are, you know, insider trading, shit like that, like, they always get the money first. Whenever they print the money, the rich always get the money first. They buy hard assets. They buy real estate, gold, stocks, bonds, Bitcoin. And then, you know, their piggy bank goes up, while the poor and the middle class just gets fucked over and over and over again. And like, I know a ton of people who are smart, but they also keep all of their money in dollars, which is just stupid. Like, the one thing we know, when we played the Michael Saylor video on this show a couple different times, they're going to keep printing money. Whether they borrow it or print it out of nowhere, it's the same thing. You're creating money out of nothing, and it's going to destroy the currency. Inflation, they're saying, oh, inflation's at 2% right now. It's like, no, inflation's at 99%. It's just 2% above that this year. Like, the dollar's lost 90 something percent of its value since we went off of the gold standard. So inflation is fucking crazy. They just keep, you know, adding a little bit here, and they go, oh, inflation's down. It's like, no, it's not. You're never going to deflate the currency to the point where it's going to be like usable for normal people. It's just, it's literally Robin Hood, you know, robbing from the poor to give to the rich. Like, that's the same game that's been played since the beginning of time, since feudalism, you know, kings, doesn't matter. The more currency you add, the more it fucks over the little guy, and it's just not going to stop. So
that's not Robin Hood. That's Robin da Hood.
Robin da Hood. That's a good, I like that title too. Robin da Hood. Let's play this Ronald Reagan video while I write this down.
We don't have inflation because the people are living too well. We have inflation because the government is living too well. And the last statement, just a few days ago, was a speech to the effect that we have inflation because government revenues have not kept pace with government spending. I see my time is running out here. I'll have to get this down very fast. Yes, you can lick inflation by increasing productivity and by decreasing the cost of government to the place that we have balanced budgets and are no longer grinding out printing press money, flooding the market with it because the government is spending more than it takes in.
The best part about that video is Jimmy Carter's looking at him like, you're not supposed to say that, dude. Like, that's not part of the game. What are you doing? And he has that same look like, God damn it, I'm going to lose. But also he's like, what are you doing? This is not part of the game here. You're not supposed to tell people that. One of the things I've been talking about on the podcast and telling people is like, the fucking government has not figured out how dangerous AI is to it. Because you can have a conversation with AI about this and it'll tell you how fucked up the government is. They won't tell you that in school because school is not designed to make you a free thinker or an individual. It's designed to make you a slave to the government. So if you can learn stuff, there was a report that I saw a while back. I don't know if I brought it on the show or not, but they're doing this experiment with teaching children where they got rid of the teachers and just had them learn from AI for like 2 hours a day. And then had them go do recess and learn like actual skills. And they're testing it like 90% above like children in public schools. And it's only been going for a couple months. So hopefully people will learn about this shit. But, the Republicans want to use AI because they want to use it for surveillance and war. And the Democrats, who knows what the Democrats are thinking about AI. But they wanted to stop it. They wanted to put a pause on it while Biden was in office. And everybody's like, no, fuck you. We're not doing that. And, I was going to bring this up about the data centers that he was talking about in the big, beautiful bill. Like, me, I don't think the government should exist. But while it does, I don't want them to allow a data center in my fucking backyard. And we just went through this in my town, like right near my house. They were going to put in a cement batch factory because when they put out the sign that says, hey, you can go to the city meeting and say, no, you don't want this. They put it on a private road behind a gate so nobody could fucking see it.
Yep.
So luckily we got rid of that cement batch factory. But, my town, Nampa, it's fucked up, dude. Like, I really wish they would build more parks and less business parks. Now what they're building, they've done 2 of them right by my house. They're building like apartments. So you've got like a horseshoe of apartments, and then you have a business complex right in the middle of it. It's the ugliest, most ridiculous looking thing I've ever fucking seen. I'll have to take a picture of it at some point. But it's like
that's
let's get
what,
some more
like
we're like the city of industry.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said
we're like
that's
the city of
that's
industry.
like
It's horrible.
That's like a 2-minute city.
Yeah.
Just gotta leave your little apartment
Exactly.
building, walk down to the complex, get some groceries, get some
Clock in for work.
toiletries.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I think we've covered the big beautiful bill. It's not a big beautiful bill. It's a big fuck you bill.
Yeah.
And not good for anybody else. Yeah. Anyways, we've had some it sounds like Diddy's gonna walk. So here's
Is he gonna
in front
crip
of the
walk?
courthouse. Yeah, I think he probably will.
Happening inside of a courtroom. No, instead, I kid you not, people are pouring baby oil on one another outside this courthouse. Baby oil having a very big play in the freak-offs we heard about. You have people saying it's not Rico, it's Freako.
It's not Rico, it's Freako. Another great episode title, but I think Robin, he's gonna walk. I said from the beginning, he's gonna fucking walk. Black people are they're fucking ridiculous. They're out there chimping out because he got off. It's like, just because you like his music doesn't mean he's a good guy. Like, they did the same thing when OJ got off. And like, honestly, OJ deserved to get off not because he didn't kill that woman and her boyfriend, because he absolutely did, but because the cops fucking did some illegal shit and didn't follow the law. So he deserved to get off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Diddy's fucking guilty. Like, I don't understand it. I haven't been following it because I don't really care. I just thought it was funny that black people are chimping out, pouring fucking baby oil on themselves outside of the courthouse.
Yeah, dude. That's like you said. Not that he's a bad person or something about his music. That's like kind of what I kind of thought about it. I'm like, yeah, of course he's a bad person, but he made some good music. But
he's not making good music anymore.
Yeah.
So let's put him in jail for being a sick fucker.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
A lot of the shit, it's like Epstein. The guy's probably some sort of fucking agent. He's been collecting fucking blackmail on people for years, and we'll never see the actual files. Same thing with Epstein. you know, it's just we could get into the whole Epstein.
Yeah,
thing,
we'll never see the actual client lists or anything.
No.
That shit's so.
No.
I heard somebody say, and it was the writing was on the wall. You know, there's too many rich and powerful people who's whether they're actually guilty or not. It's just the fact that you have that spider web. If your name, even Trump, for example, whether or not his name is in there somewhere. At that point, it doesn't matter whether you're guilty or not. You're guilty by association just because your name somehow wound up on something somewhere. Ooh. And
Remember how before the election, Kash Patel was talking about arresting, corrupt people in the FBI, and now he's talking about Epstein actually did kill himself.
Yeah.
Interesting how as soon as you got in there, your tone and what you were saying completely fucking changed. You know? Same with Bongino. All these guys were talking about arresting corrupt people in the FBI and CIA and all that bullshit while they were on podcasts. And now that they're actually in the government, it's like, oh, by the way, we're not actually fighting the corrupt establishment. We're gonna go ahead and run some, congressional hearings on anti-Semitism.
And that's always the way it goes.
Remember?
Always the way it goes.
You remember when RFK said he was going to get rid of pharma ads on TV on day one?
Yeah.
I just heard an interview with him. I saw a clip. I should have grabbed it where he's like, well, they actually are. They say a lot of things on there that they shouldn't be saying. So we're putting pressure on them to be more honest and be less sensational. It's like, well, wait a minute. You said you were just going to get rid of it on day one. So what the fuck happened? Oh, you know what happened? He's hanging out with Rabbi Shmuley. That's what fucking happened. He's captured, just like everybody.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. I've got some fuck the police clips. We're running out of time, so let me see what else we got. Yeah, we don't need to play that stupid bitch loading her trash can full of rocks. That was pretty funny, but not great for the podcast, I think. All right, here's the first one.
In the state of Oregon, someone can walk up to your 2-year-old kid completely bare naked, and that's not a crime, even if it's on your property.
Correct. Well, so it's trespassing, but what I'm saying is there's no laws against the actual nudity portion of it.
So you can expose yourself to children in Oregon.
Again, if you're not doing it for sexual gratification or the gratification of somebody else,
how do you
are allowed to
determine
walk
that?
around in public naked.
On private property, this is where I live, and someone just came and exposed themselves to my 2-year-old boy. And this officer's saying that it's not a crime. So a naked person came up onto my property here, approached my 2-year-old kid, completely naked, which I ran over to him and covered his eyes
he's not a
so
pedophile.
he wouldn't see. My obvious thought is to call 911 as someone's indecently exposing themselves to my child on my property. At what point did this become a normal and acceptable thing to do? The cops will literally do nothing about it. They're basically saying we have to wait for that person to do something more serious to your kid before we can intervene.
Call me when he sticks his dick in his mouth. Then I'll maybe do something about it. Was it you on the podcast when we played the clip where the cop was like, well, as long as you're not fully erect? Like, well, wait, are you going to go out there and give him a fucking handy and find out how erect he is? Like,
right.
This is what's like bullshit about cops and these fucking conservatives will just back the blue no matter what. They don't give a fuck about the Constitution. They don't give a fuck about you. They will follow whatever bullshit law, whatever fucking authoritarian piece of shit is in office. They will follow that law. They don't give a fuck about the Constitution. They don't even know what it is. They couldn't tell you what the First through Fourth Amendment is if they had to. In order to keep their job, 80 to 90% of cops would not be able to tell you the 4 aspects of the First Amendment. They just can't do it. They get training on policy. They don't give a fuck about the Constitution. I was watching a deposition with a dirty cop the other day, and the lawyer was like, so you took an oath against this, right? And he's like, I can't recall. And the guy he's just said, I can't recall over and over and over again. And dude, he was such an arrogant fucking prick. He's just sitting there like, he's not doing himself any favors. He's going to end up on the Brady list and he'll never be able to be trusted in court again, but he doesn't fucking care because he's getting paid and he's cracking heads, which is what he signed up to do. It's fucking bullshit. Here's another one. Oops, I forgot to cut this one. So it'll play here in a second. I forgot to edit it. So again, this is
guys, I have a problem with all this pride shit. All this shit costs money. And it doesn't serve a purpose. North Miami Beach. How you doing, ma'am? How's everything? All right, guys, we got Golden Beach. Where's Golden Beach? Isn't that in Broward? Miami-Dade County? All right, we're going to have to pass by and check that place out. Golden Beach. All right, guys, we got all these pride vehicles. It's a waste of money. You know, we don't need this. Government isn't supposed to be paying for this shit. The government is not supposed to be supporting pride. Guys, let me show you something. Let me show you something. They got the pride flag right here, right? They got a pride flag right there.
No state flag.
But if we put a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, everybody would be going crazy. You know, and we have the Second Amendment right to protect us. But if we put a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, everybody's gonna go nuts. But look at how they put the pride flag there. Political. These people are playing politics with your money. All of this shit costs money. It doesn't serve a purpose. It serves a political purpose. Look at this shit. Look at this waste of money. All these cops standing around, $50 an hour, not doing shit.
To be honest, I'd rather them stand around not doing shit than going and fucking with citizens. Like, that's the one thing that, like, a lot of the auditors don't get. They go, get back to work. And it's like, no. Don't tell them to get back to work. Let them be lazy. Like, that is better. Like, we're going to be paying these people no matter what. So, like, let them be lazy and sit around and sleep in their cars rather than going and fucking with people. You know, I remember when I was a kid, Al used to tell me, the cops aren't your friends. They wake up every morning dreaming about how they can fuck up your life. And that is absolutely true. That is exactly what they do. They just want to fuck with you. And that dude was right. If they put a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, the liberals would be losing their fucking minds. They would be putting political pressure on them. That was in Florida. Where's the state flag? You got an American flag and a pride flag, no fucking state flag.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We're never going to get out of this gay fucking... I kicked a gay guy out of my house last night. I didn't kick him out. He actually moved out on his own, but I told him something along the lines of, if I see you in my neighborhood again, I'm going to fucking shoot you, you stupid faggot. That was it. Gone. Which is, he actually did me a favor because I was already considering kicking him out anyways, so I'm glad he left. Fuck him. And on that, let's get out of here so I can go make some fucking dinner.
Romper room, kicking on Living Street, Mac Drake, full of the Hennessy.